Hi, I'm Dave, founder of Halloween Year Round, and I'm coming to you live from Fury Road. And I'm here to talk about the new Mad Max Saga, Furiosa, a prequel movie that I wasn't sure how it was going to play out, and I wound up really liking it. So let's talk about Oh, hang on. This guy's beeping at me? Excuse me. Witness me!
Do you have it in you to make it epic?
Prequels are really hit or miss. I think that's pretty obvious from you have some amazing ones like Better Call Saul, which rivals the original series, that it was based on. And then you have like Phantom Menace, Attack of the Clones, and all that fun stuff. So going into this, I was nervous because I'm like, this is the first Mad Max movie without Mad Max. And while Furiosa was a great character, really fascinating, played brilliantly by Charlize Theron in the first movie or in Fury Road, is there enough there to do a prequel? And it turns out not only is there enough, there's even more. So right off the bat, this movie kind of separates itself from all the other Mad Max movies, not just because Max isn't in it. Well, I don't want to spoil it. Anyways, all the other Mad Max movies, it's like you have some event going on, and Max is just kind of getting caught up in it, and he's along for the ride. He's along to help out. And most of them only take place over the span of a short period of time, like a couple days, because there's an adventure going on right then and there. This movie, Furiosa, spans years. The movie even has like chapters put into it. So as fascinating as it is to see the backstory of Furiosa, and as brilliant as Anya Taylor-Joy is, which I'll get to more to her later, this movie is just as much an expansion of that world. And that's kind of what I loved most about it. Was you get all the great character moments and development of Furiosa. You get Chris Hemsworth in what is probably my favorite performance he has ever given. He is so unhinged. But I love just seeing the expansion of this mythology. And in a way, this is going to sound like a weird way to describe it, but if you think about it, this whole movie feels like a Greek myth. It has that like epic mythical feel to it, where Furiosa feels like she could have been, a character from a Greek tragedy, where we're seeing her life play out, all these horrible things happen, but at the same time we're seeing this massive world. Like in Fury Road, you hear about the Bullet Farm, you hear about Gastown. Here we see it, and we kind of get a working feeling of like how this all plays out. And it does it without spoon feeding you, without telling. It shows. It doesn't go Phantom Menace where it talks about the trade routes being taxed and the tariffs and all that in the Senate meetings. It just shows you, hey, here's a bull farm, here's Gastown, and here's just how this world works, and here's how a guy like Dementis kind of works himself into it, and here's how everything just falls apart. So we start off with young Furiosa. She's in the green place, the place that we know in Fury Road she's been trying to get back to her whole life. We kind of see how she ends up leaving that place, not by her choice. There's some stuff she says in Fury Road that we see fulfilled, involving her mother. Again, going to try and avoid spoilers. And she ends up in the hands of Dr. Dementis, played by Chris Hemsworth, who is just... I want you to imagine like depressed Thor from Endgame. Add decades of madness, and the result would be this character. Chris Hemsworth, he's hilarious in just how insane he... Like, this is a guy that you can tell his mind has been warped by, years of living in the wasteland. And he thinks very highly of himself, and he thinks he's this amazing leader, and he's really not. Like, granted, he does a couple plays that are genuinely interesting. We see him get into sort of like a rivalry with, Immortan Joe, which, given that it's a prequel, we know we know which one's going to win in the end. That's obvious. We know that Furiosa is obviously going to survive, and we know that Dementis is not in Fury Road. So again, trying to avoid spoilers, but given this is a prequel, we know all those things. So he does some things that are smart. Like he's good at like doing plays here and there, and but he's not a great long-term ruler. And you see that firsthand, and you see like how some of his own men start to turn on him. And I love how through all of it, Chris Hemsworth just he plays this guy like even when all hope is lost, he still thinks he can win. Like he's delusional, and it's a character that I don't know that he's supposed to be scary, but he's played as just I found him hilarious. Like he's a messed up character that does some nasty, terrible things, but I mean, so does everyone in this world. And I think that's the point that this movie tries to drive home is, no pun intended, is that this is a harsh world. That this is not the barter town or the paradise we saw in the earlier Mad Max movies. This is the wasteland. And to survive in the wasteland, you've got to be harsh. Like even the green place where Furiosa is originally from, like they have this policy of like kill anyone who even sees that it exists, because if they do, they're going to bring more people and then it won't exist anymore. And it's like, damn, even like the nice place is you have to gatekeep it like that. So we watch as Furiosa grows. She ends up with Immortan Joe, and she really proves herself, as a warrior, kind of unexpectedly, all the while still trying to make it home. I really, really like Anya Taylor-Joy here. I think if anyone was going to portray young Furiosa, it had to be her. She has that intensity. She has an amazing resume, too many movies to list, and she brings that intensity. You buy her as someone who grew up in this harsh world and who is doing whatever it takes to survive. Much like Fury Road, the practical stunts here are amazing. You've got the chase sequences, you've got the fights, you've got the people jumping from one vehicle to another, and so much of it is practically done. Yes, there's CGI here and there, but it's never used to replace something practical. It's used to enhance something practical. I think visually speaking, you know, it fits right in with Fury Road. You feel like you could be watching scenes from Fury Road. Later on, the movie does get a little, I hesitate to use this word, it suffers a little bit from prequelitis, where it's like, wink, wink, get it what we're referencing here? It's like, okay, I get it, but like, we don't need that aspect. This is such a cool story on its own. This is the epic myth of Furiosa, where we watch her, be abducted as a child, taken into this war society, become a warrior herself, and sort of become the character that we know in Mad Max Fury Road. Really, really solid prequel that just, and it's tough to do. It's tough to make something that stands up to all the ones that came before, but it holds its own. And in a weird way, it's probably my favorite Mad Max Saga movie in terms of pure story, just because it is the most kind of in depth story, because it spans many, many years. And I can't say this enough. It feels like an epic myth. Also, I keep saying Greek myth. I should be saying Norse myth, because they're obsessed with Valhalla, which reminds me of probably my favorite unintentionally hilarious moment is Chris Hemsworth's character Dementis meeting the war boys of Immortan Joe and asking them what's Valhalla, and I'm like, really, Thor? You're asking what Valhalla is? You should be very familiar with it. Even Immortan Joe, who's obviously recast because the actor who played him in Fury Road sadly passed away. You don't. He's under makeup and the mask, so you almost don't even notice. Um, I think it makes a great companion piece to Fury Road. I just think that again towards the end it gets a little. It tries too hard to link it up to Fury Road, where if you just watched Furiosa and you didn't watch Fury Road, you might be like, "What's going on here? What's all this?" And I think that it didn't need that, and it might be better off without it. But overall, Really, really solid movie. Loved Anya Taylor-Joy. Loved Chris Hemsworth. Great action. Great, just like disturbing, pure adrenaline rush. And just like this is the type of movie that is why movie theaters exist. I saw it in IMAX, and it's the perfect way to see it. So these are just my thoughts. Let me know what you thought. Like, share, subscribe, leave a comment, all the YouTube stuff. If you don't, you may end up stuck on Fury Road with Dr. Dementis and his depraved ravagers. And as always, every day is Halloween.